Yo, what's up guys? It's Saltini, and today we're just gonna be going over a Rammus guide, and just how to play Rammus. As of this recording, I am like number 2 Rammus on the leaderboard, but I doubt it'll stay that way for very long, to be honest. But I've been playing Rammus since his release, and on release I had very good results in him in trio queue. The only problem that I really have with Rammus, since he's more of a tank jungler, it's kind of harder to carry if you have not the best teammates. But without further ado, let's get right into this sort of guide. Okay, there will be 5 things I'll be going over in this guide, and that is number 1, how to play Rammus, number 2, the skills, number 3, build you should be using on Rammus, number 4, rotations, and number 5, most importantly, matchups. So, starting off with how Rammus is played. Like I said earlier, Rammus is a tank jungler, so you have to understand that when you're picking Rammus, you're in a sense trusting who you're playing with to carry the game. Like, don't get me wrong, Rammus can get kills for sure, Rammus is strong, but carrying the game is not something really a Rammus can do. He can set you up to carry, but he can't solo carry the game. So when picking Rammus, you have to remember that Rammus has one of the slowest clear speeds in the game, so you need to understand what camps you should get and in which way you should rotate to make sure that you're not falling too far behind the enemy jungler. Okay, let's just quickly go over all of Rammus' skills. So Rammus' passive is called Rolling Armadillo, and when out of combat he gains 60 movement speed, and it is increased to 180 when he's using his first skill. So basically just think of it as sort of like a Z passive, to where just when he's not being attacked or attacking anything, he just moves faster passively. Rammus's first skill is called Powerball, and using this skill he accelerates up to 180% movement speed for 6 seconds, and hitting an enemy deals magic damage and it knocks them back, and they gain a 70% slow for 1 second. Rammus' second skill is called Defensive Ball Curl, and there's an active and a passive to this skill. So the passive of this skill is called Spiked Shell, and basically all of his attacks just gain on-hit magic damage that scale off of armor. So basically the more armor you build, the more damage his on-hits will do. And the active just braces him up for 6 seconds, and it slows him by 30%. Not the enemy, it slows himself. It is a self-slow. It'll slow him by 30%, but he gains quite a bit of armor and a little bit of magic resist while being curled up. And while he's curled up in his little ball, his spiked shell also deals 50% more damage, and this applies to enemies that attack Rammus. So not only do you do more damage on your on hits, but when people attack you as well, they take damage, kind of like a thorn mail. Onto his third skill, it's called Frenzying Taunts. Basically Rammus just taunts monsters, people, dragons, everything for 2 seconds, and he gains 80% attack speed for 5 seconds. These are all at max level, by the way. Base, everything's a little lower, and all this shit's different. And finally, onto Rammus' ultimate. It is called Soaring Slam, and Rammus hops into the air. He deals a set amount of magic damage, and he creates a big circle where he lands that creates aftershock for 4 seconds, and this is a slow that will stack up to 80% if enemies are in that zone for a certain amount of seconds. And basically how this ultimate works is it scales with the range scales with his first skill. So while you're in your first skill, if you hover over your ultimate, the range will slowly increase the longer you are in your first skill. And also there will be like numbers over your first skill. As soon as that hits 1, when you ulti, the middle of your ultimate will become a sort of a CC. It'll become a knockback, right? So when you ultimate, people are in the middle, that becomes a knockback and a CC. Now if you were to just ulti without using your first skill, then it'll just create that little aftershock and there will be no no knockback, and also it will have quite a short amount of range. So I never recommend ulting unless you have to if you have no first skill. Alright, so on to builds. There are a couple different things you can build for Rammus. Honestly, he's a really flexible character if you ask me, but there are basically two items that you just always want to take on Rammus, and that is Sunfire Keep and Thornmail. Especially Thornmail. Thornmail is like a must-have on this character. If you don't have Thornmail, I don't know what you're doing. The enchantments, very flexible. I used to take gargoyles. I'll put my build up on the screen here. I used to take gargoyles, but I think now I started taking more glorious enchant to kind of counteract the self-slow that he gives himself on his second skill. And I've been getting pretty decent results with that. And also for spells, I am the only Rammus in the top 50 that takes Ignite and Smite, and I was able to get up to top 2 just using that combo. The thing is here with Rammus is he's early game, but then he spikes mid to late game, right? So with Rammus, what I do is at level 3 I go for a gank instantly. As soon as I hit level 3, go for a gank. If I catch somebody out, they 100% die if the laner follows up. Because not only do I have the knockback, I have the taunt, and then I also have Ignite and Smite. That is so much damage that my laner just needs to do a little bit of damage because they're CC'd for so long. And that's how I climbed so easily with Rammus when he came out. Onto rotations. So rotations are difficult for this character per se, not the actual rotation, but more of jungle pathing. So what you want to do for Rammus is, if you see that your laners are always winning, and sort of like you know that your laner is gonna win that matchup, to where the enemies are just gonna turtle under their tower, you're not gonna be able to gank effectively. So instead of, what I would do is I would usually go for red buff, then I would go for raptors, and then go for a gank, because usually around there I hit level 2 to 3. If I hit level 2, sometimes I'll just get my ball, and if I know that I can get my kill, usually off of mid lane, which is where I play with impact, so I always know that he's winning his lane, I'll hit the knockback. We'll go for it. We force out a flash or they die. It's one of the two, always. So if that's not an option for you, then you should go red, raptors, buff, and then scuttle. That's if you get a leash. If you don't get a leash, you should just go red, blue, scuttle. Because if you do any other camp, you'll be way too late for scuttle. And scuttle is one of the most important things that you need early game. That vision, it helps a lot. So onto a different couple matchups right now. So the most popular junglers, the meta junglers, is what you're gonna be seeing in the games. Obviously, if you're in higher elo. So I'm in Emerald 1 elo, Emerald 1 almost diamond. So most of what I see is Evelyn, Lee Sin, Olaf sometimes, the usual picks, Vi, stuff like that. So when we're talking about matchups, early game, Rammus is a dueler. He's actually really good early game. Some things that I dislike picking Rammus into is Evelyn. Evelyn is just really, really bad. You do not want to pick Rammus into Evelyn. The thing is with Rammus into Evelyn is you want to be able to just be in melee range and auto attack. Everything comes from your auto attack and them hitting you. So with Evelyn, early game, if you're fighting for Scuttle, she can kite you out with her first skill like infinitely, and you won't be able to touch her unless you hit her with S1 instantly into S3. If you don't hit that combo, then she just kites out the entire time. And even if you were able to hit that combo, if you're not killing her like right after with like 2 basic attacks, she'll just still catch you out. That's the thing with Evelynn. And also, Dragon Pressure. This guy gets objectives very slowly, and we all know Evelynn. I play Evelynn, everyone plays Evelynn. She's the Dragon Thief, Dragon Queen. She will steal it from you every single time. Unless you're playing against a really bad Evelynn, it is so easy to steal objectives from Rammus' Evelynn. Extremely easier than Shyvana. So, playing Rammus into Evelynn, you have to be very, very confident and put that Evelynn really behind, or you will just be a liability to your team. Now, playing Rammus into things like Vi or Lee Sin, you have a better chance. Lee Sin is obviously known as the early game character, so that one is a bit harder, but I have beat many Lee Sins with my Rammus. The thing is with Lee Sin, if he goes for a one-on-one with you, usually I win that exchange unless he flashes away. If we're both full HP, you know, he dashes on me with S1, I taunt him, we both just keep getting into an auto attack battle. And the thing is that most people will not check my skills and they don't see that I have Ignite. So a good portion of those times, I will win that exchange. And the same goes for Vi, but it's even easier with Vi. So Vi attacks you, engages on you, thinks that she can win. You have so much armor from your second skill, you taunt her for free auto attacks, you get the attack speed, Ignite, they have to flash or they die. Now, other sort of lower meta junglers like Shyvana, free food, actually, just free food. You should beat them every time in the early game. Like, you could slam your head on your phone and still beat them. So, those are just like the important matchups because not many other junglers are really played right now. I know Diana jungle is kind of getting more popular, but it's not popular enough yet to where I could say that you'd really have to worry about it. But just basically anything AD into Rammus is what you're most likely going to win against because of how much armor he gets from his second skill. So moving on to basically stages of the game. Rammus late game becomes like an Alistar that is halted. Diving towers is so extremely easy after you get like 3 items. There's times where I will get 3 items and I'm able to just ulti under tower and they can't do anything about it. My team just follows up and you tank tower for so long. So long, it's actually crazy. And if you have Glorious Enchant on top of that, you're able to run out of the tower and still keep your life. There are some times when I will get things like Guardian Angel just for extra survivability, but I think just having another item like Force of Nature for magic resist, or you know, Abyssal Mask to where your mages will do more damage, is kind of more beneficial to your team than being selfish with the Guardian Angel, because you know, you are a tank at the end of the day. And also some things that people don't know about his ultimate is that like the Aftershock also deals damage to towers. So if you see that a tower is low and that your team can dive it while the enemy team is turtling under it, take that 100%. You will not only destroy the tower, but you'll be ultied on top of the enemy team and you can taunt the target and do so much damage. And that's the same thing. The pick potential with Rammus is like crazy. It's actually really crazy. So you ulti on top of somebody, you instantly taunt them for 2 seconds, man. 2 seconds, that is a long time. And especially with like AD carries, you can 1v1, like late game, I don't think any AD carry can beat you if they're within auto attack range. I'm so serious about that. So if you were to ulti on top of like a Jinx or Misfortune per se, they are getting taunted. They have to auto attack you because they're taunted. You're auto attacking them and they'll usually either kill themselves or you kill them. It's harder with like marksmen that have a dash like Ezreal and do magic damage like Ezreal. So that one is more difficult. Let's see. What other marksmen even have a dash in this game, man? I don't even know. Ezreal's the other one that comes to mind. Things like Draven. Draven is, I don't know, Draven's never really been that much of an issue to me. Then again, I don't see him that often. But just, yeah, most AD carries late game you will not lose to if they're an auto attack range. Now if they kite you, of course you're gonna lose, that's how it works. But just because of the immense armor he gets from his second skill, almost every time you'll win that engage. So don't be scared when you see an ADC alone and you don't know if you can solo them or not. Just make sure you don't get kited, and also make sure that you're not like 2-3k gold behind, because then you might actually lose that. I just want to thank you guys for listening to my Rammus guide. Hopefully this helped somebody, or I would have just wasted my time. But I hope all your Rammus games go slightly better now. I'm gonna keep playing the character even when Kha'Zix and Rengar come out. Of course I'm gonna play those too. But Rammus is still one of my favorite junglers in the game. Really funny character, fun character to play. And just hope you guys enjoyed. I'll see you guys next time.
Susie Don Corleone, bitch, I'm a boss. My young niggas working, they getting them off. We only take trips, we ain't taking no loss. Man, free all my niggas and vatos in jail. They ain't got no bond or they would've made bail. And so many tried it, but so many failed. H2 GMB, we move like the cartel. Hey, just counted up 33,000 by my lonely. I made a new plate, I got tired of baloney. If they take me out, I'ma go out like Tony. Ain't no sun in the sky, it wasn't nothing but storming. Ain't making no posts, we gon' hit with no warning. Been working all night, I might sleep in the morning. I didn't mean to call you, bitch, I was just horny. I'm allergic to shrimp, but my brother eat platters. My mama trapped harder than all of these rappers. I got to the top.